Welcome everyone to the 2024 Premiere Awards. The last few weeks I've had the voting up on my community tab for you guys to vote in 18 separate movie/TV show categories, and I even added video games for a couple of categories in the other award show, but we will get to that in due time. Today we're talking about the best that movies and TV had to offer in 2023. And I did not do any of the voting here. I had the nominations put up and everybody else voted on the community tab for about 3 weeks now. So let's not waste any time and get straight to the nominations and winners. First up, we have Best Superhero Feature, and this is a category that's here because superhero films pretty much get the shaft when it comes to any award show, so I decided to add it, give it its own category. And the nominees for this one are Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Loki, Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And the winner is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, getting 77% of the votes. Loki and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania both got votes, but they lagged behind with only 12% apiece. Paw Patrol and Aquaman didn't get a single vote, and that doesn't shock me. I did have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as my second best movie of the year, and I'd probably say it's my favorite movie of the year. So I'm definitely okay with this. I 100% expected this one to win, so there's no surprise and no disappointment with this one. Honestly, there's not any really disappointments that happened with this one, but, well, I guess we'll have to get to that. Next category is Best Anti-Woke Feature, the category of movies that completely said, fuck the modern woke culture, we're gonna do what we want. And this became its own category this year because, you know, too many garbage woke movies came out. And so I decided to give an entire category to the movies that went against it. And the nominees are Sound of Freedom, The Covenant, Lady Ballers, Nefarious, and Extraction 2. And the winner, no surprise, was Sound of Freedom, taking 73% of the votes. Extraction 2 came in second with 18%, and The Covenant came up in third with 9%. I kind of expected Lady Ballers to win this one, because that was the one that mocked woke culture, but Sound of Freedom winning not only makes a lot of sense to me, but I should have expected this, I really should have, because it's not intentionally being an anti-woke movie like Lady Ballers is, but considering it has Christian themes and is very anti-human trafficking, which I can't believe that's a controversial stance nowadays, it deserved the win. Good job. Next up is Best Lead Actor in a Motion Picture, and the nominees are Chris Pratt for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Super Mario Bros., Jim Caviezel for Sound of Freedom, Jake Gyllenhaal for The Covenant, Chris Hemsworth for Extraction 2, and Alan Ritchson for Reacher. And the winner is, you can probably guess, it's Jim Caviezel for Sound of Freedom, taking literally half the votes. Chris Pratt came in a close second with 29% of the votes, and the rest of the three got 7% of the votes. So everybody got at least one vote in this category. And this is one of the very few categories where everybody got a vote from somebody. I was kind of hoping for Chris Pratt. He is probably my favorite actor in modern Hollywood, but Caviezel winning for Sound of Freedom, again, I kind of expected it, but I could have got, any of these had won, it would have been perfectly fine by me. So, that being said, let's get to the other ones. Next up is Best Lead Actress in a Motion Picture. Now, there's a bit of an asterisk over this one, and if you've seen the last 2 years, you probably know why. This one, these categories, not necessarily a lead actress, but if it's more of an ensemble movie, and there's an actress who's maybe one of the co-leads or kind of close to a lead, it can count for the sake of this. Like for my 2021 Golden Bronx years, or I guess 2022 that year, Gal Gadot got a nomination and I think won Worst Actress for Zack Snyder's Justice League, despite the fact that technically Ben Affleck was the lead actor of that movie. So we have Evangeline Lilly for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Eileen Franciosi, I honestly don't know how to say that name, for The Last Voyage of the Demeter, Rose Reed for Surprised by Oxford, Alexandra Daddario for The Mayfair Witches, and Thandiwe Newton for Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget. And the winner is very surprising to me, and it's Evangeline Lilly as Wasp for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. again, I'm shocked by this. I am shocked that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania got a win, because I know, even though I really like the movie, and I think pretty much everybody can agree its Razzie nominations were bullshit, especially the ones it got, where it got ones for Worst Screenplay and Peyton Reed for Worst Director. I mean, seriously, blow me for those Razzies. But I'm glad to see it got a win somewhere, because it is a very underrated movie, and yeah, like I said, I'm glad it got at least one win, so congrats to Evangeline Lilly. But lead actors can't do shit without supporting actors, and here are some of the best for this year. Hugh Grant for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves and Wonka, Neil McDonough for The Shift, Liam Cunningham for The Last Voyage of the Demeter, Jordan Belfi for Nefarious, and Chukwudi Iwuji, I'm pretty sure I botched that name, for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And the winner is Hugh Grant as the villain of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, I can't remember the character's name, and the Oompa Loompa in Wonka. I'm kind of torn on this one, because I'm not sure if I expected him to win or not, because I kind of wanted Neil McDonough to win for The Shift, but I'm not shocked that Hugh Grant won. McDonough came in third with 8% of the votes, with Chukwudi Iwuji, who played the villain, again, I can't remember his name, the villain for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, taking in 42% of the votes, so it was damn close. But Hugh Grant had fantastic performance in both of those movies. Hell, his performance is one of my favorite things in Wonka, so yeah. And now we jump to the other side of the coin. Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture. Michelle Pfeiffer for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, Elizabeth Tabish for The Shift, Brett Cooper for Lady Ballers, Helen Mirren for Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and yes, I know she was nominated for a Razzie, and that's part of the reason why she got a nomination here, and Serinda Swan for Reacher. And the winner is Brett Cooper for Lady Ballers. This was a really close bout, and when I say close, I mean really close. Not close in terms like with Best Supporting Actor, where it was 50% and then 42%. Brett Cooper took in 43% of the votes, and Helen Mirren took in 38%. This was actually a tie for a little bit, but Cooper pulled ahead with a couple more votes. Serinda Swan took third place with 19%. And I'm glad Lady Ballers got a win. I'm not going to reveal if it got any other wins or what other wins it got. Same thing with, well, all the other ones I've gotten so far. And honestly, this is a category that I kind of struggled with, because it seems like so many movies, there's supporting actresses were all the woke losers who had bad performances. But I managed to find some diamonds in the rough in there, and same thing happened with a lot of these other categories, so don't think I'm discriminating against that one category. It happened in a bunch of them, so yeah. But who was the guy behind the camera that did the best job according to the subscribers of this channel? We have Best Director. Guy Ritchie for The Covenant, Jeremy Boring for Lady Ballers, Sam Hargrave for Extraction 2, Peyton Reed for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and once again, yes, he did half get a nomination because of his bullshit Razzie nomination, and Alejandro Monteverde for Sound of Freedom. And the winner is Guy Ritchie for The Covenant. Once again, this is the one I was kind of rooting for. I mean, Monteverde had a lead for a long time, but then Ritchie just pulled away. Ritchie ended up pulling in 74% of the votes, and Monteverde lagged behind with 26%, and none of the other directors got a single damn vote to split between them. And this isn't the last time this has happened with one of these categories, where one has a lead, like a unanimous lead at some point, and then somebody else just pulls ahead. That especially happened with Best TV Show, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But Guy Ritchie is a fantastic director. He's had some misses in his career, but he did not miss with The Covenant. And I am super looking forward to the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare that comes out next month. But a movie is only as good as its script. And that being said, which movie had the best one? The nominations for Best Screenplay are as follows: Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Lady Ballers, Sound of Freedom, and The Shift. And the winner for Best Screenplay goes to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This was a three-way tie for so damn long. If you may have noticed, if you were actively voting in the categories, you notice I put a couple of tiebreakers up and then deleted a couple, and there's a reason for that. And it's because the original poll ended up one polling ahead, so the tiebreaker was rendered moot and just became a confusing nightmare after those. Some of the tiebreakers stayed up, but ones like this did not, because Guardians of the Galaxy pulled ahead with 36% of the votes, with Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, and Sound of Freedom falling behind with 27 apiece. And then Lady Ballers got 1 or 2 votes in there with 9%, and the shift kind of got shafted here. But I'm totally okay with Guardians winning. As much as I fucking hate James Gunn, he seems like a really shitty person. He's said a lot of things I do not like, and he's kind of a pervert if you know his history. He did do a damn good job with these Guardians films, even though I don't trust his Superman Legacy that comes out next year, especially from reports of what I've been hearing about how that movie's gonna go. But, nevertheless, he had the Guardians go out on a high note. People say the best editor is the one you do not see. That isn't always the case, though, and these editors really stuck out to me. And here we go. For best editing, we have, I cannot see, it's shadowed again, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Super Mario Bros., Haunted Mansion, and Wonka. And the winner for best editing goes to Super Mario Bros. Yes, this is Haunted Mansion's only nomination here. Super Mario Bros. Definitely had a lot of great editing choices to it, with 63% of people agreeing that it had the best editing out of this entire group. Guardians came in second with 25%, and the one I kind of wanted to win was D&D Honor Among Thieves, which lagged behind with 13%. Again, none of these nominations were exactly disappointing, even if they're not the ones I would have chosen, but congrats to Mario for having some damn good editing. Original films seem to be extinct nowadays, but every once in a while we get adaptations that are great. And if you're wondering, yes, I did add best and worst adaptation for a specific something that will be in the next award show. But as far as the best ones go, we have Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, Super Mario Bros., The Last Voyage of the Demeter, Reacher, and Five Nights at Freddy's. And I excluded comic book films from this because, honestly, it just kind of seemed cheap. My hair got messed up there. Because it just kind of seemed cheap to add a bunch of comic book adaptations on there. They could have taken up half the list again, so I decided to limit this one. Maybe next year I might have to resort to it if there aren't enough good ones, but this year there were enough. I'm sorry my hair's messed up. I don't know what happened in between takes. But the winner for Best Adaptation goes to Super Mario Bros. Honestly, I was kind of hoping Five Nights at Freddy's would get this win, to see it get a win. But Mario pulled ahead, and it did have the lead at one point, but Mario pulled ahead with 45% of the votes. Reacher came in second with 27%. I'm honestly shocked that one didn't win. Five Nights at Freddy's came in third with 18%, and Last Voyage of the Demeter got a small portion of votes with 9%. And apparently most people forgot D&D was an adaptation, or maybe they just liked it as a movie, not as an adaptation. But Super Mario Bros. Was definitely an improvement over the live-action film, and it's like one of the best video game adaptations we've ever gotten. Five Nights at Freddy's was a going too, but you can't beat the plumber. The fact that stunt people don't get Oscars is a crime, so I decided to add them to these awards last year. The award for Best Stunt Work, the nominations are Extraction 2, Sisu, John Wick Chapter 4, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Reacher. And I think you can tell who the winner is going to be. It's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, pulling in 54% of the votes. That may not seem like that high, but that's actually one of the bigger margins for ones where every single one got a vote. Because every single one did get a vote. Reacher came in last with 2%, Extraction 2 got a few more votes with 6%, Sisu got more than that with 13%, and John Wick Chapter 4 pulled ahead of the losers with 25%, but it was never going to be a contest. Actually, I think John Wick Chapter 4 got the first few votes, and then Mission Impossible just kind of took off with the award. Which makes a lot of sense. The fact that the People's Choice Awards didn't have Tom Cruise or Keanu Reeves win Best Action Star, they went with Rachel fucking Zegler. Fuck you. When so many movies have bad CGI, it's important to point out when a movie has good effects. The nominations for Best Visual Effects are Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, Godzilla -1, and Loki. And the winner for Best Visual Effects goes to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This one got screwed out of the Oscar again. The MCU keeps getting screwed by Oscar. I will never forgive the Oscars for giving Best Visual Effects of 2019 to 1917 over Avengers fucking Endgame or The Martian over Infinity War. Yeah, you think I'm joking when I say they discriminate against comic book movies for wins? Do you believe me now? But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 got half the votes with 50%. Transformers and Godzilla both got 25%, and the rest didn't get a single vote, which doesn't shock me in the slightest. Guardians deserved it. I know Godzilla Minus One had great CGI for its budget, but the winner's Guardians. It had to be. The douchebags who run the Oscars and who perform at the Oscars think that animation is just kid stuff. But me and the people who watch this channel know better. This is Best Animated Feature. Super Mario Bros., Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie, Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget, Marvel's What If, and Blue Eye Samurai. And the winner for Best Animated Feature is Super Mario Bros. You had to see this one coming, especially since this one wasn't even remotely close. 94% of the votes went to Super Mario Bros. Now the other 6 went to Blue Eye Samurai. The other 3 didn't get a single vote. Which I'm totally okay with, because I think Mario should have won this outright. And it did. This was one of the best probably the best animated movie of the year. It did lose the Oscar. I figured it would. I figured whatever Japanese studio made that would end up taking the win. But hey, the Oscar one could have been worse. Could have gone to Spider-Verse or Elemental. Musical scores are something that is heavily overlooked in film, but I do not appreciate that. Film scores are something that are very important, probably actually one of the most important parts of a film, and it's heavily underappreciated. So for Best Original Score, we have Super Mario Bros., Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, Wonka, and The Last Voyage of the Demeter. And the winner for Best Original Score goes to The Last Voyage of the Demeter. And Wonka was winning this one for a little bit, but then this was one of the other ones. There's another one we'll get to later, where one was winning pretty handily, and then another one just took off. And Voyage of Demeter ended up with 47% of the votes, which is actually on the lower end of the spectrum for ones that won. Down there with the best screenplay, they got 36%. Wonka came in second still with 18%, Mario came in third with 13%, D&D got 12%, and Guardians of the Galaxy came away with only 10%. I'm totally content with this one. Really, any of these I could have seen winning, but I figured it'd either be Wonka or Demeter, and lo and behold, I was right. Another exclusive category to this year is Best Cameo. I think it speaks for itself. Riley Gaines for Lady Ballers, Bradley Cooper for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, Kelsey Grammer for The Marvels, Ted Cruz for Lady Ballers, and Bill Murray for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And yes, this is yet another actor that got a Razzie nomination for their performance that I'm giving a premiere award to. And the winner, handily, was Bradley Cooper in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, partially because I don't think very many people recognized it was Bradley Cooper until they saw it on the internet after they saw the movie. Which, same thing here, actually. 67% went to Bradley Cooper, Ted Cruz and Bill Murray took second with 14%, and Kelsey Grammer came away with 5%. Ironically, the one I expected to win, which was Riley Gaines, didn't get a single vote. Now that shocked the hell out of me. Remakes and sequels dominate the Hollywood market, but at least we get a few good ones every year. Much like adaptations, a lot of them are just cash grabs and just pure garbage. But we do get good ones every year, and thank God for that. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Super Mario Bros., Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, Extraction 2, and Reacher. And the winner was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Guardians took in 53% of the votes, which is kind of surprising. I expected Mario or D&D to win, considering how bad the original movies were. Extraction 2, I'd argue, is better than the first one, although that got 0 votes. Reacher, yeah, the Jack Reacher movies were pretty bad, and this show was definitely an improvement. Second place went to Mario with 32%, Reacher took 11%, and D&D only got 5% of the votes. But, again, I will not complain about Guardians of the Galaxy getting a win. Now, to me, this was the most interesting category for how people voted, and it's Best TV Show. The nominees are Loki, Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, Reacher, One Piece, and Blue Eye Samurai. The winner is Blue Eye Samurai. Yes, really. Now, this was the other one I was talking about where One Piece had a pretty substantial lead, and then all of a sudden there was like 25 votes for Blue Eye Samurai just out of nowhere. But unlike the 2020 presidential election, I know nothing was messed with this one because the only person running it is me, and I didn't touch it. So, I know nothing was fucked here. I guess that many people just decided, oh, hey, I want to vote for Blue Eye Samurai here. Taking 78% of the votes. One Piece still took second place with 11%. Loki ended up taking 6%, and Monarch and Reacher took 2% apiece. Honestly, I was expecting One Piece or Monarch to win this one, but you know what? I might have to check out Blue Eye Samurai. I hear a season 2 is coming out, so I'll have to check it out. Now we have the big dog. Best Picture of the Year. And yes, this one had 10 nominations like it has the last few years because, you know, it probably needs more nominations than the rest. The nominees were Sound of Freedom, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Covenant, Lady Ballers, Super Mario Bros., Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, Extraction 2, The Shift, Nefarious, and The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Now, here's the funny thing. I was originally going to film this several days ago. And at that point, it was a tie for the final two were at a standstill. They were tied. But one did come out as the winner. And as you know, as you probably saw, the final two were Sound of Freedom and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And the winner, taking a 53 to 47 victory, not in terms of votes, in percentage, was Sound of Freedom. Had any of these movies won, I would have been totally content with it. And I'm not at all surprised Sound of Freedom won. Honestly, I think it deserves it. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is probably my personal favorite, but Sound of Freedom was the best movie of the year. And it was a damn close bout. It only won by 2 votes. So, yeah, Sound of Freedom wins Best Picture of 2023. Well, we've gone over the best of film, and next time we will get to the worst of film. And those ones, we're going to have a lot more fun with that one, trust me. So, thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all who voted on these. And next year, check out the community tab for the nominees for next year, because I'm going to continue to do this, because the Oscars and Razzies were still a joke this year, and they're going to be next year. We all know they're going to be. And I had fun with this. I really do. That's why I do it. If I didn't have fun with this, I would have stopped a long time ago. I would have stopped after the first one. But I have fun doing this. I don't care if only, like, a small percentage of people who watch this channel actually care about this. I have fun doing it, so I'm going to continue to do it. So yeah, that's all I got, and I will see you all next time. Bye.